Well, we've got breaking news. I don't often do these breaking stories on my main channel, but this is serious. There are two things that have happened. H3H3 got a guideline strike and had their live stream taken down because they claim they were talking about Alex Jones. Or I should say, they were talking about Alex Jones, and they claim that's what they were taken down. And the Proud Boys have been almost entirely purged from Twitter, including founder Gavin McInnes. Gavin McInnes, as you guys may know, was one of the founders of Vice. So we're going to look at a couple of the stories and figure out what exactly is going on. I want to start with H3H3 because they're massive, 2 million followers on Twitter for Ethan Klein. Their YouTube channel, millions of followers. These guys are mainstream. This is not political, okay? The podcast talks with YouTubers, right? They had Video Game Donkey on, right? This is a guy who just talks about video games. It's comedy. So all we have for now is these two tweets. First, he said, wow, at Team YouTube, just shut down our podcast, the H3 podcast, live stream, and gave us a strike for talking about Alex Jones? What? Apparently, there's a thumbnail, which you can't see now because the video was taken down, and it included Alex Jones. He then said, our ability to live stream the H3 podcast has been revoked, so we'll have to continue filming it offline and upload it later. Nice one at Team YouTube. It's Friday night. It's after 6 p.m. on the West Coast, and I have to imagine that, when this happened, it was around, 6:39 p.m., so this was a couple hours ago. I have to imagine that there were people at YouTube, but I'm not sure what happened so far. I haven't seen any updates from Ethan. I haven't seen any news stories about this. For the time being, it looks like they will not be able to live stream because they were talking about Alex Jones. Somebody tweeted at me and said, why are you defending Alex Jones? Let me make something clear. There's a difference between defending a principle, a right to public discourse, to speak in public settings, and defending the lunacy that is Alex Jones talking about interdimensional beings, talking to politicians, or whatever he talks about. I don't watch InfoWars. The point is, as I've said this many times, our public political debates, okay, our conversations in public happen on private platforms. And that means we have a serious problem, okay? Elections are coming up. You might not like Alex Jones. You might think he's crazy. Personally, I don't like him. I think he is a lunatic. Okay. I take that back. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he says absolutely ridiculous stuff because it works for him. It's his brand, and I don't appreciate it. But I recognize that, but when we ban Alex Jones, what comes next? Well, somebody said that to me that you shouldn't defend him, and I said we have to defend the principle because now Ethan Klein, mainstream YouTuber, millions of subs, does goofy videos talking about Alex Jones and gets a guideline strike. I imagine come Monday, maybe sooner, but come Monday, I imagine, when the staff are back in the office, they'll reverse this, they'll apologize and say it was all a big misunderstanding because, look, a lot of people talk about Alex Jones. I do. So I think this is a mistake. But the point is, whether or not they intentionally said we're going to take this guy down, I don't think there's someone at YouTube saying, remove Ethan Klein, because he's a huge success, massive YouTuber. I think whatever system they have in place is so trigger happy that simply by talking about him, he's gone. And that's what happens when they start with Alex Jones. Whether or not it's intentional, they intentionally remove Alex Jones, there's media pressure, as CNN puts it, and then the machine takes over. And now one of the biggest mainstream YouTubers is down and can't live stream on his podcast. This is absolutely nuts. But now let's take a look at the Proud Boys because there's some nuance here. And I want to make sure I can cover this. First of all, we have this story from BuzzFeed News, and this is a headline that's going around among a lot of, several outlets at least. It says, Twitter suspended Proud Boys and founder Gavin McInnes accounts ahead of the Unite the Right rally. The company shut down several accounts associated with the far-right group on Friday for violating its terms of service on inciting violence. So there's absolutely nuance here, okay? This is not, the Proud Boys, you talk to them, they say they're not racist, they say they're multicultural, but I do believe they're sexist. I think Gavin McInnes has asserted that you have to be a biological male. So they're conservative, right? They don't agree with the more than two genders things. You've got a lot of people who are critical of Islam. So it's I don't know how you describe it, nationalistic, Western chauvinist organization. That's what they call themselves, and I think that makes sense. Now, here's the thing. They're saying ahead of Unite the Right rally, which a lot of people have immediately pointed out that Gavin McInnes not only denounced this Unite the Right rally, they denounced the previous Unite the Right rally. Before the first one last year, Gavin McInnes came out and said that they didn't want to be associated with those people. So let's take a look at the story. And then actually, before I get into that, I want to show you that I do have Gateway Pundit up, which got a statement from Gavin McInnes. So I think it's fair to contrast, from a right-wing blog and BuzzFeed, which I gotta say, I really don't see why they put ahead of Unite the Right rally in here. It's has nothing to do with it. I don't know why they would do that, especially, maybe they'll mention Gavin McInnes has disavowed it, but let's see what they said. Twitter suspended several accounts associated with the Proud Boys, a right-wing group present at last year's Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, ahead of a similar rally in Washington, D.C. this weekend. There were Proud Boys present at Unite the Right, and I think this is what's important. It is my understanding, and maybe they'll get into this, but I can pull up a source, that Jason Kessler, the guy who organized Unite the Right, was a Proud Boy, and they kicked him out and disavowed the event because they didn't want to be associated with it. But I've reached out to some journalists, and they have confirmed to me, yes, there were Proud Boys at Unite the Right in Charlottesville, and I think that is absolutely why Twitter took them down. We'll get into the nuance, we'll get into the opinion stuff, but let's go through the story because I think this is... We're watching the floodgates break open in the culture war, and with the elections coming up, this is getting really serious. So the company suspended the group's main account, Proud Boys USA, as well as that of its founder, Gavin McInnes, for violating its policy on violent extremist groups. The company also took down several regional accounts associated with the organization. So a spokesperson said, "We can confirm that these accounts have been suspended from Twitter and Periscope for violating our policy prohibiting violent extremist groups," a company spokesperson said in a statement to BuzzFeed News. The move comes after a week in which Twitter has faced heavy criticism for continuing to allow the accounts of conspiracy site InfoWars and founder Alex Jones, who has promoted various false theories around events including the Sandy Hook shooting. While Jack Dorsey has explained that the company does not believe Jones or InfoWars have violated its terms of service, the same cannot be said of the Proud Boys, whose members have taken part in violent rallies across the country, including one last week in Portland. Got to stop right here. The event last week in Portland, I guess technically you could call it violent, but there was almost none. I would imagine that there's actually more violence at a football match between drunk patrons fighting each other in the parking lot than what we saw between the left and the right in Portland. There were a few instances where, people, there's one video where a guy crosses the street and he gets sucker punched. There were some instances where one of the guys, I think the Kekistani guy, I'm not sure, got into a scuffle with some other people. Antifa got into a scuffle with the police. Bottles were thrown. A journalist was hit in the head. So, sure, you can call that a violent rally in the sense that the police got violent with Antifa and the Proud Boys were involved. Whether or not, it's Gavin McInnes getting banned, to me, is something is happening. Something has happened recently where the dam has burst open. This is it. I mean, banning Gavin McInnes and the Proud Boys is a power move by Twitter. It's a powerful move by Twitter. With them attending Unite the Right, at least some of them, even though Gavin McInnes disavowed it, and even though he disavowed this one, and Jason Kessler having been a Proud Boy, I think their tombstone, it was written. Twitter's going to come for him. So they say, founded in 2016 by McInnes, a co-founder of Vice magazine, the Proud Boys gained notoriety for their presence at far-right rallies and vociferous support of Donald Trump. Its members, who typically appear at events wearing black Fred Perry polo shirts with gold piping, were present at last year's Charlottesville Unite the Right rally, which devolved into violence and resulted in the death of counter-protester Heather Heyer. They said McInnes did not immediately respond to a request for comment via Facebook. So they put up a big list of all the accounts that have been removed. They said the Proud Boys were present at a rally that turned violent in Portland. Members claimed to be Western chauvinists and often use racially charged rhetoric about anti-white guilt. They deny connection to the so-called alt-right, but speak alongside avowed neo-Nazis at rallies, saying they're defending free speech. I'm not sure if I don't know how true that is. I think, Gavin McInnes disavowed Unite the Right. But with a group that large, there's nothing you can do about it. And the Proud Boys issued a statement denouncing the alt-right and denouncing racism and talking about how they believe you can, have whatever religion you want, you can believe whatever you want. They don't believe in racist. But there's no adaptation, there's no evolution, there's no change as far as the internet is concerned. The Proud Boys, some of them were there, boom, that's it. Everyone's bad, and that's what happened. Let's look at what Gavin McInnes said. He gave a statement to Cassandra Fairbanks over at the Gateway Pundit. She says, Twitter has banned both the official verified account of the Proud Boys and the account belonging to their founder, comedian, and CRTV host Gavin McInnes. So they also banned the Proud Boys girls, all chapter accounts, and Kyle Chapman, known as Based Stickman. Apparently there's a screenshot here from what Gavin received, and it says specifically for, and it's blank. Now, we know from BuzzFeed that they were banned for violating their policy on extremist groups, whatever that means. They didn't specify in the email to Gavin. So going down, I just want to get to the statement from Gavin McInnes. So here's what we got. He said, "This is all a coordinated attack to prevent Trump from getting reelected. It's pointless, however, because he's already won, and ironically, it's because of moves like this," McInnes told the Gateway Pundit. McInnes also noted that leftist media is trying to link their ban to the upcoming Unite the Right rally, which he has repeatedly denounced. And he has, again, denounced the first one, denounced the second one. He told the Gateway Pundit that the dumbasses on the left are saying we're banned before Unite the Right rally. I clearly disavow that. It's not our bag. In fact, the day before his suspension, he tweeted. So a day before, so yesterday, he tweeted disavowing, and he called Jason Kessler a DNC operative. Here's the look. Okay, so this is what happened. For whatever reason, everyone's gonna have their opinions on this. I think Twitter probably looked it over and said some of these guys were at Unite the Right. They've been at these rallies. We saw the viral videos of them fighting with Antifa, and they were probably like, okay, get rid of them. However, Antifa has been listed as domestic terror by the Department of Homeland Security, and I personally don't think that they're going to remove the Antifa accounts. But if they're talking about their policies on violent extremists, look, at the Antifa crowd in Portland, they had sickle and hammers on their helmets for communism. And it's one thing to be a communist, but some of them were flying a Stalinist flag, okay? A flag, and I don't mean communist flag, I mean a flag with a picture of Stalin on it. That is extreme. And there were people from Patriot Prayer wearing shirts that say Pinochet did nothing wrong, and the Proud Boys were associated with that group. So here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna sign off here. I just want to get this breaking news out. Look, Twitter, you want to ban these people, fine. Just keep it consistent, because I really don't think they're going to go after the extremist left, the left who advocate for violence, the left who talk about showing up in the streets and starting fights, because these things aren't one-sided. While I personally don't like identitarians of either side, there is a conflict here between extremists, both left and right, and as Majid Nawaz says, from the heavens above, religious extremism. Will Twitter be balanced and consistent? I have no idea. But when we look at censorship, and we look at how H3H3, mainstream YouTuber, got a channel strike because he was talking about Alex Jones, I really see this all going in a very, very dangerous direction. If they're going to give a strike, whether it's automatic or on purpose, doesn't matter. The machine did it. This is the future we're headed for, where mainstream personalities, comedians, are going to be censored. They're going to get he can't live stream anymore because of this. So look, it's one thing if you don't like Alex Jones and you don't think he should be on the platform. I understand that. I personally don't like what he produces. But I knew that if they took him down, this is what was going to happen next. Now, H3H3, I cannot stress how extreme this move is. Personally, I think they will reinstate him. Maybe by the time I upload this and it's out, it'll all be fixed. But the point is, if they set up the machines, the computers, the algorithms, or do it on purpose, the system is being set up to take down mainstream comedy lifestyle YouTubers, people like Ethan Klein, for simply talking about someone like Alex Jones. And if that's the case, is this video going to get taken down too? So there you have it. Proud Boys, their axe from Twitter. Ethan Klein got a strike on YouTube. I'll maybe have some updates tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but thanks for hanging out and watching. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Timcast. Stay tuned. New videos every day at 4 p.m. and sometimes breaking news videos like this. I've done 2 last-minute breaking news videos. I don't normally do this. I did one when Alex Jones got banned because that was massive. And now what we're seeing here, the floodgates are open. And I think it's going to get really bad with the midterms coming up. And 2020, you know it's going to get really bad. And this is, it is very worrisome, to say the least. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys next time.